Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the live lounge here this evening. I'm Phill Bars, and as always, joined by Jack Gobby Garwood. But tonight we are joined by Luke, as Jar is still under the thumb and not allowed to come out and play with us because he's done too much recently. Gentlemen, how are we all doing?
I wonder where you were going then with the as always, and then I realised it was just me. It was no one else.
How are you doing, Luke? All right?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. It's been another busy week in darting terms, and I just want to thank you all for joining us, and a massive thank you for getting us to 10k. We are just sorting out how we're going to do the giveaway. We've got the idea. We just need to execute it. Hopefully going live tomorrow evening with the huge 10k giveaway, and I cannot wait because you guys have all been absolute troopers. If there's any audio problems or whatever, please let us know in the chat room because I'm playing on the new setup today. So tinkering with a few settings and everything. So if you're struggling to hear us or whatever, let us know. But welcome along Monday, as always. Chat room already rammed. You guys are absolutely on it. But guys, big week of darts, loads of news dropping, and Blackpool is getting nearer and nearer.
Cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. The build-up and the season sort of starts here now. The match play signifies the start of the second half of the year for me. It's been a bit of a weird one, obviously, because of COVID and the lack of floor events and perhaps Euro tours that maybe would have filled the gap so far. We've been deprived of challenge and development tours as well. But yeah, the match play is sort of the start of the big one that the guys have normally had their chance to qualify for it from the floor. And this is where you really set out your stall to make it to the big one at Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Luke, looking forward to it?
Yeah, I mean, the match play is going to be really exciting. Now that we haven't seen Price in action for so long, he's going to come back into the mix. Clayton might not even be seeded, so there's going to be an exciting draw, whoever he gets in the first round. And I think it adds a bit of spice that, the Premier League champion, who knows who he's going to get, but it's going to be a very, very difficult game, whoever that may be. But yeah, really exciting. And as Jack says, we're coming up towards the last half of the season. Once the match play starts, it's coming out thick and fast. We've got Super Series, and then we've got all the majors. So it's going to be quick. It's going to be good. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. I cannot wait. It's just going to be absolutely electric when it finally comes. And pleased to tell you, we're not going to tell you what it's called or what it is, but we will have a new show dropping for Blackpool. Little teaser, little spoiler alert. We were just talking about it and planning it, but you're going to see more of the team over Blackpool, and I cannot wait for it. Again, before we jump
if my social life hadn't taken enough of a battering. But it's fine. We love you guys. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep going.
Hey, the more they want it, the better it is. But yeah, new show dropping for Blackpool. Cannot wait for that. Again, before we jump into it, just want to say hello to everyone in the chat room. Tim, James, Adam, how are we all doing? Missy, as always. Raven Effect. Some guy called Jack Garwood's in the chat room. Don't know who he is. Daniel, how are we all doing? Kieran, Jonathan, it's all packed. Come and say hello. As always, get your questions ready. Boise is in, and he's put the tower emoji. He cannot wait. Going to be good. Joseph said, bit of a shame, short notice about the change for the Player Championship. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Don't think so.
Within the circles, we've known for a while it was moving. It's only been announced, but we knew at the Premier League it was being moved. So the players have known for a while as well. So it's not really.
I mean, I was on the PDPA website at about 3:30, 4 o'clock, trying to see if there was a Players Championship confirmed field yet. And the main document banner on that is please don't book anything for this event. We're currently looking into other venues because of the hotbed of variant in the north of the country at the minute. So yeah, that was always on the agenda.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more as well in a minute. But PDC have been billing this one up, so I think we will start with it as well. The return of this man is a week away. The world champion, the world number one, the Iceman, Geraldine Price, returns to action. I think on Monday it will be around 91 days since he last threw a competitive dart, gentlemen. What are we expecting from the best player in the world at the moment?
To turn up and put a couple of Instagram stories on, probably. There's not a lot else we can really garner from him at the minute. It is the big return to darts for the Iceman. Didn't travel to Germany for the last Pro Tour block. Obviously was cruelly cut out from the Premier League at the very last minute because he tested positive for COVID-19. I genuinely don't know what to expect from him, darting-wise. 90 days is a long, long time of not playing anything competitive. It's a long, long time. It's like a footballer coming back from injury. They need that preparation. They need those few games to get match fit, if you like. Just being in that competitive environment again, being in that situation where somebody's chucking something back at you. You cannot simulate this professional environment by playing against people on the computer or playing against people in the setting of your own home, because it's very, very difficult to go into that with the right mindset and mentality. That I have to imagine that this is a leisure centre in the middle of Coventry, for example. Well, it's not the leisure centre of Coventry, is it? But you know what I mean? I expect a slow start for the first couple of days. I would not be surprised to see a couple of 80 averages in there, a couple of 90s. He'll find his groove for one or two games, but it will be the consistency that will be the issue for Gerwin on his return.
Yeah, Luke. And last time he had a break like this, not quite as long, but it was the return to the match play last year when he lost first round to Danny Noppert and only averaged 90. Is that a concern again?
Yeah, I mean, there's every chance that could happen again. As Gob said, you know, the period out is the same. It's such a lengthy time. You're not going to get that much experience. He is going to be coming in a little bit flat-footed. But I do feel like if he can get his act together in the Super Series and then go on and win the match play, then it would be water under the bridge what's happened at the Premier League. If not, I still think he's going to be a little bit disappointed with how the PDC handled everything. Now, I think they did everything within the law, but the way Gerwin Price has obviously come on Instagram and spoke about it on social media, you know, he still sees that he's been a little bit hard done by. So it'll be interesting to see whether he goes out there. You know, he's got a target on his back. He is still the world number one, but he's going out there just to prove to the PDC that you cut out the best player in the Premier League. And if he was in there, he probably thinks he would have won it.
Yeah, of course. Look, it was a huge loss for him. But God, the way he approached it on social media, right, wrong, or a little bit of both, or was it a little bit of tongue-in-cheek?
I think there have been times in the last 18 months when he's been very, very close to the line. And I think he knows that because some of those posts have been removed within hours after he puts them up. You don't get to this level of ability or this level in sport without having a bit of emotion, something that drives you to push you on to do better and to play at this absolute highest level. And I just think sometimes it's a little bit raw. We absolutely love being able to get access to the players immediately after games. It's when they front up to it most, but there is genuinely a case where they should be given a bit of time to step away, gather their thoughts, and then approach the cameras, but going straight to his social media. And I think that's something that he needs to learn. He needs to pick up a little bit. If you're going to be the face of the sport, as people were suggesting after he made his Soccer AM appearance, and the physique is a little bit different to what we're used to seeing. It's a Welshman at the top of his game, and we know how patriotic they can be. All of those factors combined, I just think there needs to be a little bit more noggin up there. I'm not against people being outspoken, but at the same time, there are a lot of commercial opportunities that come in the position he's in, and brands and sponsors won't want to go near that if there's a risk of him upsetting the wrong people.
Do you think it's also telling, Luke, that the PDC have made such an issue around his return on social media? Because there have been other players that have missed tournaments through COVID and everything like that, and there hasn't been this song and dance. Do you think that they're trying to just almost give him some love?
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, right? The PDC didn't exclude him because they wanted to. They excluded him because they had to, and that was within the rules. If they'd had their own way, they obviously would have had him in the tournament. So it wasn't like there was some sort of vendetta against him, that they didn't want him to compete. So, of course, they've lost their best player. They were probably heartbroken when they found out the news that Gerwyn Price couldn't play. And I think now you can make a big song and dance about it, because if it was anyone else, if it was someone in the top 32, yeah, you might go with a Super Series and you might have a chance of making a quarterfinal or a semi-final. Well, Gerwyn Price, if he's on form, has a genuine chance of winning one or two of the Super Series events. So it's a huge deal for him to come back. And because we haven't seen him for 90 days, some people have forgot what he plays like, and we forgot the atmosphere and the passion that he shows on stage. So although this is a floor tournament, the PDC are obviously going to want to drill it back up. They see him as the marketed player, and I think they are starting to see him as the driving force of darts and into a new era. So they're definitely going to market him, and I think they're doing it quite well so far. I'm excited with what they've put out on Twitter and on social media so far, and they've just got to keep it up. I think really we need to drill the hype up and just bring him back, and hopefully with a little bit of support behind him, it brings him in and he doesn't have such a flat stage, and he can get straight onto form and straight into winning matches.
Gob, as well, that first stream game on Monday, who's on it, don't you? Regardless of who he plays.
Oh, he's 100% going to be on stream board 1, game number 1 as the seed. You just know, but why not? I mean, you've missed out on the commercial opportunities that come with Gerwyn Price being in that Premier League. Stick him on there, get him on there. He's the face of it. Build it up. People will be watching. People will be interested as to how he goes about it.
Yeah, completely agree. Do we think he will win one of the 4, though, gentlemen? Or is that maybe a bridge too far with 90 days out?
Personally, I think he will win one. I think he's probably going to win maybe event 3 or 4. I think it'll take him a couple of days to get warmed up, but the quality is never going to get lost. If he could get 2 or 3 games, even if he got enough start in the last 32 on day 1, but he could get 2 or 3 games in the bank, I think that would give him enough match experience to then just roll in the 100 averages on day 3 or 4 and really win some games. But, these Super Series are competitive events now. There's maybe 32 players that could go in and genuinely believe they could win it. So although the standard keeps rising, it is going to be more difficult. He was a class above at the start of the year, and it'll be interesting to see if we can keep that going.
For you, Gob?
I'm not sure. I think the only saving grace with full price at the minute is that whilst he hasn't played for 90 days, there are a heck of a lot of people that are going to be in that field that haven't played since Germany. And that's quite a while ago as well. That's at least 3-4 weeks ago, is it not? So they're not going to be as fresh going into it and as battle-hardened as they'd like to be as well. I think the only disadvantage he's got is going to be that Premier League field and how they respond. Peter Wright looked very, very good at the back end of the Premier League. I expect him to stick with those darts now in preparation of the match play, and a perfect way to get yourself in that mindset going into that is to go and win one of these. Van Gerwen will be wounded. He will want to go and pick up one of these. Jose de Salles is playing fantastic darts. Premier League was a catalyst for Nathan Aspinall. He returned to form. He's got Johnny Clayton actually going on to win it. And Jose de Salles as well, plus the likes of people that were picking up titles last time round. You've got your Dirk van Dijvenbode, you've got your Joe Cullen, Brendan Dolan, these guys that are absolutely thriving on the floor, but thrived after a break over Christmas, came back in and started doing bits to start again. So, like Luke said, there is a long, long list of people that are genuine contenders for titles, where it used to be 4 or 5 and a couple of people coming from the outside. Michael Smith will want to prove a lot of people, especially now the field will be back at full strength. So I just think purely with that amount of names, and you've got the Premier League boys will have played, and he did miss Germany. I don't see it this time round. Next Super Series, yes, but not this one.
We'll come on to the Super Series in a second, but again, all the chat room, we're not ignoring your questions. There's some great ones in there. G Adventure says, I think Price will continue his reign of terror in the PDC, quite possibly. It will be interesting. Loads of you as well talking about Gezi. It's great to have him back. Agreed. Can't wait for that. Remember, drop us a like, everyone. Only 21 likes on the stream so far. You can do better than that. And anyone that hasn't subscribed, you know what to do. Just click the button and then press the bell notification. You know by now. Come on. Drop us a thumbs up.
It will save you a task when we release our next video, won't it, Phil?
It will, because unlike our normal giveaways, you will have to go to YouTube for this one. Yes, it will be on Twitter, but you have to do something on YouTube. There's your clue. Make sure you subscribe. Right, we've talked about it There's a venue change as well. Super Series a week today in Milton Keynes, 14th to the 17th, and then we do not go back to the Reebok. We are going to Coventry, going to the Rico, somewhere that they've used before. The players know, so not that much of a change for them. Gob.
No, I mean that was a venue when I first started going to events and that sort of thing. It's not too far removed. There's been events there so far this year. Look, I'm not convinced that there's a massive amount more risk by going up north in the country at the minute, but every precaution at this stage, this is people's livelihood, so it's sensible to just move it to somewhere, just start a reach to that, and go from there. The PDC have had options. They've been on the ball from the absolute go, so yeah, a sensible move, even if the risk isn't too massive, but they're mitigating that even more.
Yeah. Evening to Mace as well in the chat room. Hope you are well, buddy. Hope the voice is recovering after the shift on the live league. But looking ahead, Players Championship 4. Yes, we will be doing our marathon 4-day streams for you all as well. As everyone's building the Gillette Soccer Saturday of darts, we will be back. Don't worry about that. There is also a Euro qualifier as well. Is it Super Series 5? Gob, on the Friday, was it? You put in the group chat?
Now you're testing me. I think so. It's on the Friday now. Yeah, they've changed the dates around. There's a Euro Tour qualifier on the Friday night.
Again, big hint. Euro Tour's coming back. When there's a qualifier, you know there are dates in the diary.
Yeah. And at the minute, you can pretty much guess where it's going to be, or you can have a massive guess at where you think it might be, considering where other darts events are at the minute and where the restrictions currently lie within Europe and the rest of the world. So,
in the chat room, give us your guesses where the first Euro Tour is. But
I've already seen it twice.
Looking at Super Series 4, we've obviously spoken about Gezi, a number of other players that we touched on before the break, and the ones that chose not to go to Germany. People like Joe Cullen were in absolutely spectacular form. Are we expecting them to be in the same, or are we expecting ring rust from them, Luke?
Well, I think they're going to be in a very similar position to go in price. You know, the difference between 30 days and 90 days, for me, to be honest, as a professional darts player, you really want to be playing every week or 2 weeks. So you're going to be rusty, whether you've had 30 or 90 days off. They're all going to be in the same boat, and it's going to make it a little bit more tricky. I do think it's going to be the Premier League players that are going to go in there as the ones to beat, the ones who've obviously had the match test. And that was really handy that it was a block of 5 nights, because it's given them a lot of experience in the last couple of weeks, and they're going in there very, very fresh. The likes of Jose de Souza, I do really expect to win at least one. I do think Dirk van Dijvenbode is another one who he is going to be close. I think there is a few names in there, but I don't know about Cullen. I don't think he'll win one in Super Series 4. Although his form was really good at the start of the year, I do think a 30-day break is going to hurt his form a little bit. And when he gets rolling, he's very, very good, but a little bit of a stagnant break and a little bit of a stagnant period isn't going to bode too well for him, I don't think. But I'm not going to rule him out of making a quarterfinal or a semi-final. He has still got pedigree, but I do think he might struggle just a little bit.
Another one you touched on, the Bully Boy. What are we expecting from him in Super Series 4?
I don't know. I just want him to get his head down and play darts. Because every time he wins one, he comes out and says something and then puts a target on his back and then isn't quite backing up yet. Until he is an absolute perennial winner.
All right, Gary Anderson. Just here to play darts.
we still need to get another T-shirt, don't we? We've been promising that for months. But yeah, I don't know. Look, I think the fact that this is a block of 4 helps the players because they've got time to get used to the environment again. Got a couple of days practice, arrive a day early, get on the board. We've heard of different people practicing for the last couple of weeks together. The likes of, I'm going to use Edgar as an example again. He's practicing with Kevin Painter. There'll be other little groups getting together up around the country, and White will no doubt be with Michael Smith somewhere and a few others. So they're not going to be absolutely freezing cold. They're not going to come in and start for chucking 60 averages like I'm struggling to at the minute. they're still going to throw competitive darts. It's just who's got that consistency over the couple of days to get there. The first couple of days, the Premier League players definitely have the edge. After that, 2-3 days in, anybody's game.
Yeah, a couple of people asking in the chat room, is MVG going? Yes, as far as I'm aware, MVG is going to the Super Series. Fully expect him to. There's not darts every week at the moment, so that the players need everyone to just need that practice and that match practice. A few people in the chat room. Dennis, how are we all doing? Loving some of the guesses as well for the Euro Tour. Loving the North Korea one. Henry is in as always. No, it's not San
Not sure they'll let us in, to be honest.
Henry, it's not San Francisco Bay. Don't think we can class that as the Euro Tour. Shout my age there with the rock gags. The Isle of Wight, great shout. Germany, I don't think, might be wrong with this, but the way it is at the moment, I don't think we'll see one of the 5 or 6 Euro Tours in Germany, as it stands right now.
What a shame. Make up for the 6 million they've had there for the last 3 years.
Look, things can change, but right now it's tough to get in there.
Yeah.
Jenny Smith said, Edgar TV said at least 10 tour card holders won't be at Super Series 4. Yeah, look, quite possibly. There's always some that won't travel, don't want to travel. Are we taking bets that a certain Dutchman won't be there? 1 to 50 are we going with?
I'm not sure we'll ever see him again. We're not even sure whether he's still alive.
Yeah, so yeah, there's always going to be some that don't. 10, not a bad number. Luke, if it's only 10 that pull, that's not too bad.
Yeah, look, I mean, we had that earlier on in the year and last year. A 10 or so, it isn't too bad. When it gets up to sort of 20 to 25, then it's getting a little bit ridiculous. You know, I understand that there's a global pandemic going on, but we're coming out the back of it now. You've really got to start knuckling down, especially these guys now that, you know, I don't know how many there might be another 18 maybe Players' Championship. So that might be some of these players, it's their last chance to save the tour card. So you'd hope they would be making every effort to get there. But if it is only 10, then that's not too bad. I think we'll take that.
Oh, Daniel says, is there a pop world in Jib? I don't know, but that's a good
I bloody
question.
hope so. I'm literally replying to that now. I bloody hope so. There's going to be one in Nottingham, by the way. I am so here for this. There is one opening in my home city in the next couple of weeks. I cannot wait. It's like all my prayers have been answered. All in one go.
And then, look, once it is back up and running, we are going to do the Pop World Tour.
We are. Pop World don't know this yet, but we're doing a Pop World Tour.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Online darts coming to a Pop World near you. Got a ring to it.
Can't wait for
We
Liverpool.
get T-shirts.
Can't wait for Liverpool. Oh, please. How bright would they be?
Yes.
Torremolina Shore Road Tour.
Love this guy's chat room. Absolutely electric tonight already. We haven't even opened you up yet. Absolutely top draw. Well, like we say, we'll go more in depth on Pro Tours 4 and 5 later on. But also some other huge news, and this is probably going to be the longest segment there is. Dart is returning to the Lakeside, Gob.
It is. As if we haven't had enough announcements of World Championships in the last few weeks. We had another one. We are doing a full sweep of all of the historic venues. Even I'm in line to be a world champion at some point, which is the problem that we said the other week. But you can see why the organisations are still pressing forward. We've had that debate a little bit. But yes, we are going back to the iconic Lakeside. As of 2022, we have 4 world championships to cover. You lot better get that subscriber count up a bit more.
Luke, what was your first reaction when you saw the news dropped by the WDF at the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I expected it. When obviously the BDO folded and the WWF announced that they were going to take over, I did expect that at some point we'd end up back at the Lakeside. But to be honest, I didn't think it was going to be the seniors tour that was going to be the one that would give us the Lakeside. So I'm still happy that we have had it because, look, it is an iconic venue. No matter what people say about how run down it might be at this point, the fact of how long we've had darts there, we had to go back at some point. So for me, it was a good thing. And I am really excited to see us go back to the Lakeside. I do, and I mean, I weighed my opinion in on this, but 4 World Championships it's getting a bit silly. We need a different name for some of these events. You can't call them all a World Championship. It just gets a bit ridiculous, and it just devalues the word. But look, as far as the venue goes, I do think they've chosen the right place because as history goes, if you've got the Circus Tavern and you've got the Lakeside, we've covered bases there. The Ali Pali's obviously beginning to make a name for itself, but it's not quite where Lakeside is. So it's really exciting, and I am looking forward to it. It's going to be another good one, but the scheduling could do with some work.
Yeah, the Mace has just put it in the chat room, and I was just bringing it up. God, this is the WDF's first World Championship. Have they made a huge, huge mistake with the dates?
Possibly, but I don't really think they had a choice. I think that the move by Mad 2 weeks ago pushed them into a position where they didn't have a choice. They had to act. They had to get some dates in the diary. And I just think the way that the physical calendar works next year, with the days to start it and the day they want the final to fall on and that sort of thing, they were sort of pushed into this because an extra week behind, I think people are going to struggle in the middle of January to turn up financially. It's such a big commitment time of the year. Especially if people have already attended MAD or already attended the PDC World Championships. Ideally, I think the best slot for a World Championship is Easter. And I think it's been spoken about at this level for a while. But I think the fact that Easter moves every year is an issue because then you don't have a fixed point of reference for your calendar every single year. You can be 3-4 weeks behind. Then you've got events that can maybe double up on your ranking system. You've got events that don't quite make the cut in one calendar year and would the other year, or you just absolutely narrowing their calendar massively. And actually moving to that would be a bit of a leap of faith. And to do that in your first one is quite big. So I think moves that have been made by other organisations and the way the calendar falls is what has forced the WDF to put it when it is. Clashing with the semis and the final of the PDC Worlds is quite big. But at the same time, if darts is on, it's just a transition to just keep it on. No one's going to watch it instead of the PDC Worlds, as far as I guess. You might get a few lower ones. But actually, those numbers for night 3, 4, and 5 will probably pick up because it's just more darts on your TV consecutively. It's just a different channel that you get in and flick onto.
It is, but it's not just the players. It's everything that goes with it. It's production, punditry, and everything like that. I don't know this, but obviously where they've said where it's going to be on Eurosport, historically, Eurosport, Mace is in the chat room, so he'll know this, that like people like Nico and Mace have done the Eurosport work previously when the BDO were on. The likelihood is that team is going to be at Ali Pali for Talk Sport, Luke. So it could be a completely inexperienced team of people doing everything.
Yeah, I think it's going to cause a lot of problems with the media teams, everything. It's just caused a lot of hassle, It is difficult to slot it in the calendar. I did think about maybe early December. Maybe they could have gone for that, after the Youth World Championship and the Players' Championship finals had finished, maybe slotted in the first 2 weeks of December. But look, they've gone for it. They've gone for January. I understand why, but overlapping is a bit criminal for me because it provides a lot of challenges because even if the same team were to cover, if you talk about Mason Nico, if they were going to cover both World Championships, it just creates a lot of hassle. They could have the WDF sessions in the afternoon and then leave the PDC sessions for the night for day 1 and 2, but I don't think they're going to do that. And it's just going to split the team up, and it's just caused a lot of problems that didn't necessarily need to be there. But again, at least we are going to get to see some more darts, but it's a little bit too late notice for me to suddenly start doing this and chopping and changing dates. So it does create a lot of problems.
Yeah, Mace has just put correct about the team and everything like that. Well, whilst we're doing a
sorry then, mate. Snooze you lose. I'll send them my number later.
The different world championships. In an ideal world, if we had a professional world champion, the PDC, an amateur world champion, and a seniors world champion, and one youth world champion, that's not the end of the world because they're quite categorized. You know what they are. Gob. Does having 2 amateur world champions cause the issue?
Possibly. I think that's where the fighting and the battle is going to come. Look, we've got 2 world youth champions as well, at least, if not 3, at some point, because you're going to have the PDC World Youth, which is not a youth, the JDC, which is a straight-up youth. WDF will no doubt have a Youth World Cup or a Youth World Champion. We've seen lots of Justin Van Segal compete in that before. It happens all over, but I'm going to use the same example I've used before. I just hope it doesn't turn into an English 8-ball pool where there are 4 or 5 different rule sets, 4 or 5 different governing bodies, and nobody wants to give the other person an inch. And the minute they do, it just all goes to pot. There's just going to be so much historical resilience from different groups. We're seeing it now with the UK county setup as well. We haven't even touched on the move that the Welsh Darts Organisation have made in the last week, or the statement that they've made, and the current battles going on at that level at the absolute last minute, which is... I just want to leave the politics aside. I just want to get on and play darts. And I'm just worried that this might not go that way, because the only way that I can see the 2 amateur darts organisations, the WDF and MAD, protecting their own investment, when you've got the PDC at the top, going to be sniping their top talent to go to Q School and the like of it, is by making sure they cannot cross over into other events. And whilst no organisation has stated that at the minute, and the only restriction is a PDC tour card holder cannot compete in the rest of these, at some point, someone's going to have to make that move.
For both of you and to the chat room, as darts fans, and for both organisations, in your opinion. Come to you first, Luke. Get involved in the chat room as well. Let us know what you think.
I understand what Gob's saying about trying to protect your assets, but the amateur game really has to now take a step back and understand where the BDO pitfalls were. You know, you've really got to. I understand that they're out to make money, but at the same time, if you're coming in to fill the void in the amateur game, then you've got to understand that these top players, when they win if they're going to call it a world championship, they're going to move on, aren't they? There's no stopping that, and that's the way. If we're going to develop the amateur game, we want to develop professional players to then go on and challenge at the top of the game and challenge in the PDC. So it's a difficult one, because if you put restrictions on where they can play, you're just going to get people rejecting going to you in the initial stages, and youth players won't even attempt to go to the WDF or MAD. They'll just go straight to Q School. They'll play in the youth, the development tour and the challenge tour, and they'll never even look at amateur darts. I do think there's definitely avenues. I would like to see them cooperate a bit more, MAD and the WDF. And to be honest, I'd like to see them form one world championship at one point, because 2 amateur world champions, I wouldn't even call them world champions, because what are you really a champion of? You're not going to be the best player in the world. You might be the best amateur player, but I'm not calling you a world champion for that. Maybe just the amateur champion would be a better fitting title. But it's definitely good that we've got more avenues now than just the BDO, which was dying. You know, we've got 2 quite good governing bodies who are both really passionate about the sport, but it's just going to be interesting to see how these 2 negotiate this year. If there's a lot of clashes and we're seeing players that are going to have to pick tournaments over one, and it just dilutes the quality in both tournaments, then, you know, we're going to have to try and streamline the amateur game one way or another. And whether that means that one organisation is going to have to take the hit, they're going to have to merge at some point, then so be it. But it can't be a bad thing that we're going to have more tournaments and we're going to have more chances for the amateur players to have their name out there, and then potentially get talent spotted and hopefully find their way into one of these programs, such as Mac Elkin's team, and then move themselves into the PDC and move forward that way. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one this year with 2 organisations trying to spearhead the same campaign.
For you, Gob?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'd like to think so, and I'd like to think the game and the sport is big enough. But the problem is, they almost have to have some sort of agreement where they agree to specialize in different manners so that they can continue to exist. So one accepts they're going to take something and run with it. They're going to specialize in that area of the game and not cross over. The other one's going to do the same. If they're just constantly going for a tour with ranking events that then gets them to a televised world championship, you're just competing for the same thing, and that's where it's going to get messy. So if that's both of their ultimate aim, no. If they're going to have other branches, other opportunities, and agree to specialize in different things and not clash and work together and genuinely try to formulate a calendar together, then yeah, they can definitely both exist and the game can really grow.
Cool. Like we were critical of some of the lack of information from MAD when they released it. Are we also a little critical of the WDF that there's no prize fund or anything announced, considering the tournament is only 6 months away?
Yes and no.
My biggest
same with the seniors and everything. Sorry, Luke. Go on.
That's all right. Go for it. Go for it. You finish off and then I'll come on.
Yes and no, Phil. Because there's so many opportunities and avenues for criticism these days and things that can totally devalue your product and bury it before it's even started. If you overcommit to something now in your early statement and something doesn't come off, or you haven't quite got it there, or you cannot confirm an actual number, and you say it'll be in the region of this and actually you're 15 grand short, after the debacle of what happened at the World Championships with Wayne Warren winning it that year and the prize money, to overcommit at this stage would be an absolute nonsense. You've got a date in a calendar. Both organisations got a date in a calendar, and the seniors have as well. You've got something physical to work to now. Now you've got actual timeframes. People know this is serious. They're going to start going to the ranking events around the world where you can pick up these points and get on their ranking systems whilst they're working in the background. It gives them something to work to. And I like that. And announcements can build up and come for it later. I just think that the venues, the products, and the fact that at the end of the day, it is still a world championship and there was still interest in the BDO world the last couple of years. They're going to rely on that for the first year while they get the systems in place and work out any teething issues.
For you, Luke?
Yeah, for me, I hope the BDO hasn't tarnished any of the reputation for the amateur games. So I'm hoping that the WDF does get a good take on, and we do see quite a few players adapting to the new system and giving it a go. We really want to see them push it. But I completely agree with God. But you don't want to see someone overcommit. I don't want to see them promise 100 grand for the prize fund for the winner, and it turned out to be 23. So it's better off. Let's see what the uptake's like. Let's see how many players are playing in the first 6 months, 9 months, and let's see where we're at come December. You know, as long as they let us know in sort of September, October time, then I still think that gives everyone more than enough chance. If you're an amateur player, you're still going to play in the tournament, whether you're going to win 20 grand or whether you're going to win 100 grand, because at the end of the day, you're playing to try and further your career. Now, obviously, there is some financial benefit to the extra money, but you know, this is a chance to get some exposure. So I still think there's going to be a good uptake, but it's going to be interesting to see how many players will commit to doing a separate tour of the WWF rather than just going straight into the challenge tour because they know how professional the PDC system is.
Great comment in the chat room. Daniel says, what happens if one amateur player wins both the MAD and the WDF World Championship? They'll probably get a unification in Vegas against Floyd Mayweather.
Who will dance around him for 8 rounds and get paid £1 million
per minute.
Yeah, ridiculous. Shocking. But let's not talk about that absolute abomination of a fight because Chris Mason will chop my head off for even referring to it as a boxing fight because we all know how much he loves his boxing. So, yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know where you go with that because then you've got 2 different people marketing, 2 different people trying to push and pull their world champion in different directions and wanting different things from it. So that's another thing. If you become world champion in one, are you eligible to play in the other? Does that suddenly pull you out of it? Are ranking events going to double up on the points? Because actually, a lot of the opens and stuff that are your qualifiers, basically, where you pick up your points for the Order of Merit, your WDF Order of Merit, and your MAD Order of Merit, are going to be the same events. You're going to get both for both. As long as you're a MAD member, you automatically get them points if you go to a WDF ranked event. If you pay your membership to MAD as well, you're literally going to climb up the rankings on both for achieving at one.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Mace, said earlier. Mate, I'm watching on a free stream and not having my money back. Mate said earlier the WDF will want their winner to be offered a 2-year tour card, natural transition. Do you think we will see the days come back where the PDC offer the amateur world champion, whichever organisation it is, whichever one gets the coveted spot, where the PDC will offer a tour card to the winner? Or do you think that day is done, Luke?
Well, with Barry Hearn out of the picture, maybe we will see that. But you'd think that Matt Porter is his prodigy, and he should hopefully be sticking to the same principles. If they've decided that they're going to clean slate, there's going to be no handouts, then they should really stick to it. But in my personal opinion, I would quite like to see that. If someone wins the amateur game, it is a natural transition. Let's get them straight over to the PDC and let's see what they're truly made of. But we've this talk that they could even offer senior tour cards. That I still think that would be a brilliant avenue to explore. Why not? Who wouldn't love to see the senior world champion back on the tour as well? So maybe allocate 4 tour cards out. One for the senior world champion, one for the youth world champion, one for the mad world champion, and then one for the WDF. That would be a good way of allocating them for me. If you're going to hand 4 out, but I don't think they're going to do that now. I just can't see them going back on what they've already said. The last 4 years, there's been no sign that that's going to happen again. So it would be a big setback and it would be a big change. But they're full of surprises. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Right, guys, we're going to open it up nice and early today. We decided we're going to do an extended chat room free-for-all, as it's known. So chat room is open. Get your questions in. And we will answer within reason. Anything we can. Someone said earlier that you're going to tell us where the Euro Tour event is. All I'm going to say, it has been named in the chat room. That's all I'm going to say.
Multiple times.
It has been named. It has been named in the chat room. So work it out from there, gents and ladies.
Unless we don't get a bollocked by email in about an hour's time.
It could be North Korea.
That's where the email's coming from.
Missy says we need Eurosport dedicated as a darts only channel. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. Maybe a cycling. Every time I switch to Eurosport, they've either got cycling or snooker on.
What's wrong with the snooker?
I didn't say there's anything wrong with it. I just said that's when you flick to it. That's all I ever see.
Yeah. You backtrack, Mr. Bars.
Well, no, I tell a lie. Snooker's only good when Ronnie or Judd's on. If Selby's on.
Fan.
No, completely. I'll put my hands
up. Selby puts me to sleep, mate.
Yeah.
I've been to watch the sport live more than enough times. Where are we for questions, then?
There was a good one here. Missy says, Phill, Jack and Luke, when you realised you first had 10k subs, how did you celebrate? Well, God, literally, I'm going to tell it here. God,
it was me.
Sat in the back end of YouTube in the creator studio for about 4 days, watching them tick up and letting us know when they went up one by one.
Seeing it creep up. And then obviously I tweeted this morning it was 12 away. I've been sat here with my phone just refreshing it. And we got to 1 short. And I think we lost one at one point, actually. We got to like 9991 earlier. Then it dropped back down to 9990. And I was like, here we go. And I'd literally just sent my brother out. And I refreshed it on my laptop as well, because I had my phone and my laptop open. Refreshed it on that one as my brother came in. He was going to the shop for something. I was like, oh my God, 9999. And he went and got something, left the door, and he just heard me scream through the window like a little girl. I was like, ah! Got straight onto the WhatsApp, and Phill was busy for 2 hours, so we didn't get the graphic out straight away. But I wanted the official announcement to come from our socials, basically. And then Missy noticed that we'd hit 10K because we'd been so close all morning and tweeted congratulations first. So thank you for that, Missy. I'd put it on like my Snapchat and a couple of other things hidden in the background that not many other people see it. And then the minute we got the graphic, it was absolutely everywhere.
Yeah. Someone says, how are we celebrating Phil's birthday? I haven't got a birthday coming up. Next question.
You just hope you haven't got a birthday coming up because that number just creeping up.
May says, who's in danger of not making the match play? Oh, I like this.
An excellent question, because I've already got darts rankings open because I knew we'd get to this point. Who's in danger of not making the match play? Stephen Bunting, maybe, after his run there the other year. 18th on the actual Order of Merit and 20th on the Pro Tour Order of Merit.
Out of the
Who else
ones
is a big
that
name
are
in trouble?
the 16 at the moment, I think Madders Razma and Ryan Searle. Look, Ryan Searle can go berserk at any moment, but he didn't play particularly well in Niederhausen is a concern, but has been practicing with Gary. Whether that's good or bad is up for debate. Depends how that went. But look, Madders Razma is in no form whatsoever at the moment for me.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I say I agree, and then he just out of nowhere props up in a quarter final. He's one of them at the minute. Switches all over the place. Can never tell if he's actually in form or not. And next thing you know, he's averaged 98 and finds himself in the last 16 or a quarter final. He's an enigma, is Madders Razma. But there are plenty of players just outside chasing that were playing good darts just before we left. Darius Labanauskas, absolute talent. You've got Clearmacher and Bunting just outside. Andy Bolton went on a couple of deep runs. Adam Hunt's playing all right. Hock and Whitlock aren't too far away. Barney needs a good run. Jason Lowe's not a million miles away. Kim Hybrex, Jeff Smith, Scott Waits is probably as far down as you're possibly going to sneak in, but they need a win. I think they're the ones from the actual 16. Ian White is 16th. Johnny Clayton is only just behind him, but the fact that White is currently 25.25, over halfway into the rankings on the Pro Tour, I think he is just about safe, although he will lose his seed, and I do believe Johnny Clayton will overtake Ian White in the next few days into the top 16 in the world.
Yeah, where does Ian White drop into that Pro Tour Order of Merit when Johnny Clayton overtakes him?
Just above Ross Smith, 25.25.
Right, okay.
So he's
so that would
pretty solid.
Yeah. So then that would make Dev number 1 seed from the Pro Tour Order of Merit currently.
Yeah. Although they're not seeded, are they? That's a random blind draw from that side.
Yeah,
They're not matched up to anything.
But, Luke, if you're Johnny Clayton, would you prefer to be 17 and 16 right now?
I think you definitely would, but he's not going to be scared of anyone, really, is he? You know, you're coming off the back of your 2 biggest titles ever. Johnny Clayton's not going to fear playing Go and Price, and to be honest, I think he relished the challenge. So the thing is, as well, there's 8 events to go. So yeah, if you were saying there was 1 event to go, could he throw around? Or let's not say throw, because we'll not get him in any trouble. But you know, he's 1.5K behind. So if he wins an event, then he's already way past Ian White. There's too many chances left for him to earn a bit of money on the side. So he's obviously not going to try and stay outside the top 16. But yeah, maybe it will be beneficial. Who knows? I mean, the blind draw, it does make it easier, but everyone in the top 16 can average 95 plus. So it wouldn't be a massive negative for him if he does slip in. I don't see him overtaking Joe Cullen, though. You know, he'd have to win 3 events to get there. So it's either 16th or a random draw. So, you know, out of the 2, yeah, he probably would want to be unseeded. I do notice, Gob, that you managed to skim over Rimmer van Barneveld's name, who is still outside, but not too far outside. Needs around about 4.5.
I mentioned him.
In 8 events. I didn't hear you mention him. I don't think you give him enough of a big up. You know, come on, this is a big comeback, right?
I mentioned him, but he had the win and he's not done a lot else since. Is the point? He had one win on the Pro Tour. By his own standards, on the Pro Tour in the last decade, is very, very good because he hasn't won a lot. He's been very consistent.
All he needs is one more. One more in 8 events.
That's what I mean. All he needs is one more. But that's what I mean. As far down as Scott Waits and Ryan Murray, they need to win. They need to win an event. They need that 10K in 8 events. And even then, they might possibly need a little bit more. It depends how many of the Pro Tour top 16 Order of Merit go deep. If they keep adding to their totals, if you've got players coming from outside of nowhere to pick up quarterfinals, that money's off the table. And if you've got top 16 Order of Merit players, that money's off the table. So it's a very niche little group that needs to start picking up money. And it's just not going to happen 8 times over.
No, agreed. Anyone else?
What do you think the cut-off's going to be?
Cut-off. Yeah. I
24.
I think Luke Humphries is safe now.
Not if he doesn't have 2 in 8 events.
What's that?
I think 24. I think 24 is where you have to draw the number in a minute with 8 events to go.
I'm not saying he's mathematically safe, but I think Luke Humphries is safe. I think Cullen's probably
a couple
safe
of board
as well,
finals to add to that, and I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the likelihood is there'll be one surprise winner, won't there? If not two. So there's a few players, if the likes of Labanowskis and Claymaker, if they go out and win, it does definitely raise the bar quite a bit. You know, Searle and Rasma will be in huge danger then. I think probably 24K is a conservative guess.
To be fair, Claymaker.
Yeah, at least I'm right then.
Claymaker's the one that played some really good stuff in the last block of Super Series and looked consistent. So it wouldn't surprise me if he picked up 7-8 grand across the 8 Pro Tours, and maybe that'd be enough.
Possibly. Can we just bully Jar? Because who just asked a question? Jonathan just said, be honest, do we want Barney to make the match play? And Jar was like, no, next. And the answer is, Jar, you're wrong.
Yes, yeah. Look, do I want Barney in the match play? Yeah, I do. I'm not going to lie.
Full House, Winter Gardens, unless he draws one of the top 4 players in the world, is going on game number 1.
Eye of the Tiger, rattling around the Emperor's Ballroom, spine tingling.
Yep. Averaging 86 and flopping out 10-2, probably not as much. But for that first minute, I want him there.
Yeah, for the walk-on, yeah, absolutely. Saldor says, is Makuru coming over for Long Line Darts Live League? Not on its own, but questions have been asked if she or when she comes over next. Could she come over a week early or stay a week later? Questions have been asked. Harry says, why do bookies pay on home darts to host the live league, but then ban punters once they have a decent win? Don't know which bookie you're on, mate, so can't answer.
Very diplomatic, Phill.
Just being honest. Someone said about Darren Beveridge this morning, star in making. Yeah, me and May spoke about this last week, guys. I don't know how much you saw of it, but Darren Beveridge looks very, very good. Lovely throw, easy on the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Think he'll do bits in the next 4 or 5 years.
That 1-4-1 to open today out of nowhere was a bit good. Very, very solid player. Just needs a bit of experience now. That's all it is. There are some players that are those that are yo-yos with their tour cards, and a few others that actually probably aren't as good as Darren Beveridge, but where they've been in and around the system and understanding they're comfortable, just keep staying there and keep picking it up. There are some very, very good tour dart players that you put in a room at home or you put in a local league pub are actually quite vulnerable and actually quite beatable. But they are very, very good tour players that get themselves into that position, understand the atmosphere, the environment, how to peak and perform and stay competitive. So he will be there soon, I've no doubt. His throw is lovely.
Yeah. I like this question. Pretend Gary is Mount Everest. How far down the mountain and how far has he got to climb? Luke, we come to you first.
So the question is, if Gary's on Mount Everest, how far has he got to climb to reach the top end of his game again? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's nowhere near his best. When you watched him in the Premier League, it's just too inconsistent. Sometimes he throws 105 average, and then the next game he gets smashed. He was getting smashed 8-3, 8-4. So I would say maybe he's halfway up. You know, he's not where he needs to be. Obviously, if we're saying the bottom isn't a 40 average of the average person, you know, the bottom of Gary's game is probably an 85, 90 average. So he's not a million miles away from being at the top of his game, but he's nowhere near as consistent as the likes of Clayton coming into this now. The Premier League is really starting to expose him. And although he qualify every year, he just doesn't seem to have the same level of drive that he needs to get to beat these younger players. And I think he's struggling a little bit. But who knows? We always say he's a couple of games away from finding the form again. So he might not be a million miles away, but I'll go halfway.
For you, Gob?
Yeah, I'm similar, maybe a little bit higher. I don't think he's a million miles away. There are times in the Premier League where he averaged 104, 105, where I thought the release wasn't great, and that was an issue. And then 2 nights later, he averaged 104, and it looked absolutely Rolls Royce. If he gets that right, ridiculously good. The scoring's not a million miles away, although he does seem to have a few more loose darts than the rest of the field. It's the doubles that are the issue for Gary, and they always have been. The Premier League, he was so up and down with his finishing. It was like watching Gary at the Lakeside, and of old, there were times when his percentage was way less than 20, struggling. And we've always said about Gary that actually his best performances have been when he gets a little bit angry, when he's got that little bit of drive. He's been getting angry and frustrated lately, but it isn't channeling into his darts. He's just getting angry, frustrated, and not being able to do anything with it. So he seems to have lost that little bit of an edge to change gear. Something that we said in the past that James Wade doesn't have either. You know exactly what performance you're getting from James Wade after 4 legs because it's not going to change. Gary has lost the ability to change gear at the minute. And I think that'll be an issue for him.
Yeah. Ollie says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought dart players weren't allowed to wear trainers. Has the rule changed? Yes. As long as they are completely black trainers, they are allowed to wear them. I don't know precisely when it changed, but it's a good few years ago.
They were doing it on my dev tour first year, so it's been about 5-6 years minimum. It was just creeping in then. They have to be completely black. You can't have like a white night tick or anything on it, but yeah.
No.
The JD Sports of the world was suddenly doing very, very good sales in plain black Nike Air Max.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that seems to have come from the youngsters as well. That came through the players that were playing Dev and Pro, the likes of Dimmy and Bradley Brooks and that lot. There are still some that will prefer shoes. James Wade, Snakebite, Gary Anderson.
No, Wade,
but the comfort, the amount of time they're playing. They're not the brown ones, but they were still shoes. They weren't trainers. They weren't trainers to start with, unless you swap later in the week.
They were a trainer.
To start with, they were shoes. They just weren't red. They were like navy.
Yeah. Some of them wear rather nice black Gucci trainers as well.
Yes.
There's a few of them that wear them that are quite nice.
Other brands are available.
But if Gucci want to sponsor us, DMs are open. Chances of someone from
I'm
Gucci
not sure
actually listening.
What? I'm not sure we're their target market in terms of male models, Phil, but we'll chance our arm.
Well, you never know. You don't ask, you don't get.
I think Gucci's XL might fit my big toe.
If we turn up next week with Gucci bags on, we've not sold our souls.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, Henry's got a good one here. I think I'm reading this right. Devil's advocate, after Floyd Logan Paul, which celebrity could take on a pro in a pay-per-view clash? I'm guessing you mean darts. What darts celebrity would we like to see take on someone? Good question. I like that. Oh.
Devon can handle himself. He must be able to handle himself.
Aaron.
When you're as wide as you are tall, you must be able to handle yourself. Yeah, Aaron's a big lad.
I'll tell you what, though, flip the coin.
Kirk Shepherd?
Pay-per-view. What celebrity would you like to see play darts on stage against someone in an exhibition?
Oh.
See, you'd want someone with a little bit of darts form. Someone like Tim Vine can probably average 70. So at least there'll be a little bit of competition.
He's a very steady player. Him and Lee Mack, they're both very, very steady dart players. Yeah. Who's the boxer that won the PDC Home Series? He can play very well. White Rhino, David something, isn't it?
Dave Allen.
Dave Allen, he
not
can
the
play.
media.
No, not the media. Alex Hales can play. His coordination is very, very good. And after seeing him in non-cricket settings, he would enjoy the atmosphere as well. The man loves a party.
Declan Rice can play a bit as well.
Declan Rice. Yeah, there must be a few of the England
boys.
boys.
There's a snooker player. I'm not a big snooker fan, but there's a snooker player that I remember seeing do a challenge. Mark someone. Is it Sean?
Mark Williams. Mark Williams can play.
Mark Williams can play. He had 9 darts and he hit like 301 or something ridiculous. He seems pretty decent.
I want to see Sean Murphy play because I remember a while back on social media the debate on what was harder, the 9 dart, the 147, or a golf hole in one was doing the rounds. And Wayne Mardle tweeted, "I'd love to know if anybody's done all 3. And Sean Murphy, the former snooker world champion, is a scratch golfer and claims to have hit a 9 darter as well. He is possibly the only man on the planet to have done all 3.
Maybe we should set this up. Maybe this should be the next goal. We'll go and invite random celebrities to come play in the online darts league.
Yeah.
And I used to think he was a little bit boring, but actually, after seeing him at the World Championship, the man loves to show off a little bit.
I just think he's got one of those dry sense of humours.
Yeah.
Jonathan,
we're not starting that. We are not starting that.
This says, is Aston going to be all right? I think it was just a little twinge in his back. I think he's had the back clipped into place and it's all good again. Adam says, do you think Aaron Beanie will keep his tour card? Let's have a look.
Where's the tour card race? Get that one open.
He's playing well, but I think he's still a long way down.
I think maybe his first year has undone him. Yeah, the last Super Series, he played some very good stuff. But I think year 1 might leave him too much to do.
That's a bit far. I can't even see him on the list. Where is he? Aaron Beanie, number 93. So currently out of it. And there's a lot of players around him that are on a 1-year card as well. So needs a few more results. I think he'll struggle to keep his card.
If he gets putting together the Players' Championship finals or the Worlds, yeah.
I think he probably needs about 25 grand. A lot to ask. Look, I think he's played some great stuff year 2, but I think year 1 may have undone him.
Yeah.
That's got to be the most
he's currently 20.
Of the year,
he's 20 grand behind 64 for the minute. He's 20 grand off 64th at the minute. And that's about them improving their position with potential match play, World Championship or Players' Championship finals appearances. Probably more the latter. Match play's a bit of a stretch for some of them.
Daniel says,
if anyone had offered him the form he's had so far this year, though, I think he'd happily taken it, wouldn't he? You know, you look back to last year, and if anyone had told me that he'd have picked up as much money as he has this year and being a potential, he's in the running for the World Championship. Let's not forget, even if he doesn't keep the tour card, qualifying for the World Championship would be a huge goal for him. But where the form's come from, I've got no idea. But he's playing really, really, really good stuff.
Well, is he? And I don't want them to start coming for us again in the chat, but is he?
His average
because the run where he made the semi to 92.
But when you take the step, you know, he was in the bottom sort of 10 averages. You know, when you take the step, you're not going to go from averaging mid-80s to suddenly being a 95 plus guy. You're going to take steps, and to get up to a 92 average, I don't think it's too bad. You know, people were singing Lisa Ashton's praises, and she's not averaged 90 plus, and yet still managed to get a good game out of herself. So all that, I mean, averages aren't everything, but he's managing to get wins.
UK Open.
Again, but it's not consistent, is it? Yes, she has some phenomenal performances.
She averaged over 100 at UK Open in beating Aaron Beanie, was it not? Comfortably.
You're not wrong.
Comfortably.
But Aaron Beanie averaged out over 100 when he beat Dirk Van Duijvenbode, didn't he? So it swings and roundabouts. There's good games and bad games, but I do think he's improved quite a bit. I'm really impressed with the maturity that he's shown to get some of the wins, and some of the runs have been phenomenal.
you've got to beat what's in front of you, and that's always been the number one point from this sport. And he has had some good results this year. I just worry that if these Pro Tours start going back to full strength, they will not hold up. And he needs to find an extra level if he wants to keep his tour card.
Interesting. Where were we? There was one. Yeah, let's go back up there. Daniel says, where was it? Eventually, could the Online Darts Live League become its own governing body, or would you rather keep it as it is? It will never be its own governing body. It always has to be governed by someone, which is why it's DRA regulated. But you never know where it's going to go. It's on TV 3 nights a week. It's a start. So, look, there's no ceiling.
Correct. And thank you for calling it the Online Darts League instead of the Modus or various other names that other outlets are currently using. It is ours. It is our name. It has been since week number 2 of the very first installment since its rebirth. Please continue to refer to it as so.
Looking forward to the World Series event in New York next year. Which players do you think will be invited? Good question. We were talking about this the other day. Technically, by the press release that we got, it should be the same as what was announced for the first one. Whether they stick to that or not, I don't know. Because it was a postponed event, they were going to keep the same. But whether that will happen, I don't know. But I think Fallon still goes.
I think Fallon still goes because of the Billie Jean King connection. And because of the interest that drove up. And there will be, at some point, a marketing opportunity to get those two in a room together, won't there? Let's be honest.
Completely.
And that's why it's going to New York instead of Vegas or wherever else. And all right, there's more interest in it in the East Coast, so that will certainly help as well.
Yeah, no, agreed. Speaking of which, some really good stuff coming out of the DPA and the CDC over the last few weekends. Their tours coming along nicely. The satellite tour and the cyber tour for the CDC. Some really good stuff, Luke, from those two, and developing well in other territories is our beloved game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's one of the big things that's always the pull for me at the World Championships. I really love to see the guys from the CDC tour come in and the DPA tour are coming in from other continents and really giving it a go. You know, we've unearthed some good talents, the likes of Damon Hedder, Corey Cabby, although we don't see him a lot now, Jeff Smith, Matt Campbell. So we're getting names developing, and it's really good to see, you know. And it was nice to see Matt Campbell and Danny Baggish come over and mix it a Q skill. So the game's only going to get bigger out in them continents, and it's only going to keep developing. But it's brilliant. I just hope that, you know, if we hold the 96 places at the World Championship, but I don't see changing anytime soon, that it just keeps the motivation there. It's a big milestone to qualify, and it is nice to see. And they're so professional, these two. They're really, really well organised. I am hoping that we get to see a little bit more footage from each of these events. I know there's a lot of DPA tours, but it'd be nice to see some of the CDC tour stuff sort of put, maybe thrust into the limelight a bit more by the PDC. They are obviously marketed on YouTube, but not a lot of people know about it. It would be nice to see that just promoted a little bit better. It's not promoted enough for me, but yeah, some really good action going on so far. And it'll all come to its culmination towards September, October time as we find out who qualifies. But that's the one. When we finally find out the spots, we really want to see them last weekend and see who qualifies for the World.
Yeah, just on both tours, I speak to the guys regularly that run both of them, and the CDC live events come back. Is it August? I think their first ones are in Miami, where they're all together in one room. I might have got the state wrong, but they're all coming back, and I think we'll see some streamed. And when the DPA full tour is back, there is going to be a streaming board like on Pro Tours. So
sounds good to me.
That'll be great exposure.
Slightly less happy note, the CDC and DPA are getting back on track. It looks like the Asian tour isn't this year. I forgot to mention this earlier. The Philippines governing body have effectively said that they're going to be having their own World Cup qualifiers and World Championship qualifiers, which doesn't look good for the Asian Tour to return this year. So it looks like we might get individual qualifiers from the nations rather than the Asian Tour that we've looked to see in the last couple of years. Hopefully, the Asian Tour will be back to its full standard next year. But yeah, like I said, it looks like the Philippines are going to have their own World Cup qualifying, and they've got like a Philippine Tour, and the finalists from all of those events are going to go into a big final event to qualify for the World Championships.
Yeah, but yeah, excited by the stuff that the DPA and the CDC are doing. Should be really, really good. Looking forward to that. Where else are we? There's some really good questions in there. If you see anything as well, just jump in, guys. You've got the chat room there as well.
I don't know how far back you were.
Will we get a Modus World Championship? No.
Please.
Nathan says, is there hope for the online darts league to be more international when possible? Yes, absolutely. We've got a host of Europeans that want to come over and play, but we just need that stupid traffic light system sorted. Once that happens, yes. Completely.
Oh, Reese. Between the Series 4 and 5, is there room for the best ever debate? It's not a debate. I've already won it twice.
Just going to mute Gob's audio here a second.
The establishment trying to silence us once again.
All right, CM Punk. Daniel says, we all love talking about players. Can we talk about the equipment and just to gauge mature opinion and the new mission light? I haven't seen it because I was setting up for today, but Gob, I know you were watching the mission launch.
Yeah, I'll handle this one. Thanks, mate. Look, I think it solves a problem that doesn't actually exist. I think the marketing, the launch, and everything else that came with it was fantastic. I'm just not sure the product was big enough for the effort they put in. But again, look, Target changed the game with their product launches a few years back. That first ever launch when literally every player had new darts, new shirts. That's when the pixel grip first became a thing. That literally changed the game in how darts was launched. It used to be you get a catalogue. If you're a supplier and you have a quick look through a brochure, you get the Red Dragon little catalogue, or you get your Unicorn big book and that sort of thing. That literally used to be how you find out about new darts. Now, the graphics, the launches, the rest of it that comes with it, absolutely superb, was put together really well. But after the build-up it got, disappointed that actually you're paying the same, if not more, for less of a product. Not less as in terms of quality, but actually, if I'm paying 50 quid for everything on my light, why does it cost me more to have a bit missing? It's like paying more for a car when it's got less seats.
Due to copyright issues?
Don't go there. Don't go there. Next.
Jar, it's not a big birthday this year, mate. So it's just a normal one.
Every year's a big birthday, Phil.
Technically, it'll be the second birthday in lockdown.
That's generous, Mark.
Yeah. I'll take that all day long.
He will take that all day long.
Mark's just gone to #1 fan status.
Missy, you've been relegated. We don't have favourites here. We love you all. We don't have favourites here. That's how we work.
That's not what you were saying the other day. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right. Throw me under the bus a bit more for something that didn't happen. Hilarious. But we get on really well, so let's shrug it off.
Slopey shoulder job.
Have we missed any more questions? When do we think guests will be allowed to go with players to tour events again, a pro and challenge tour? I don't think we're a million miles away. I just guess it's as soon as they don't have to test, because at the minute the tests are so expensive. It'll be social distancing, probably August.
I'm not convinced that the 2 guests will ever come back.
I am.
The general feeling, talking to players and staff, they actually like Pro Tours only having a maximum of 1 guest, like manager or wife or whatever. I don't think the 2 guests where randoms, just because you're mates with someone, would go and rock up and watch the Pro Tour for the day. I don't think that will come back. I think that's one of the things from COVID that may not happen.
I see what you're saying. I guess it's very much when I first started going to events with Kyle and being in that atmosphere. When you step foot into a Pro Tour or when you're a guest of a player at an event, the thing that I was always taught is act like you belong. You're there because your friend or whoever's gone with you is a professional. You should be representing them at the same time. It shouldn't be a big experience. You shouldn't be gifted the chance to go and watch a Pro Tour. There's a reason those events are behind closed doors. Yeah. But at the same time, a lot of those players need drivers on the last day. So,
That's what I mean. That's why I think that there'll always be 1. But I genuinely don't think it will go back to the 2 like it used to.
Yeah.
But hey.
Not a loss.
Harry says, what players are you looking at from overseas? Some of the Europeans that did well at Q School. And is the live league on forever? How long's a bit of string?
Yes. You can just watch me playing in my darts room if you really want. We'll just stream that instead. Not sure Chris Mason will commentate on it because he'll get fed up of my crap.
There's only so many times Mace or Nico can say 26 or I might say his hand.
Or his action's all wrong or he's lost his head.
Yeah, what's that action all about?
Or sometimes you can be so nervous you just look drunk.
Yeah. Whilst we're waiting for some more questions to come in, prize money announced for the seniors this week, Luke. Some big bucks.
I haven't seen it. Fill me in. What are we looking at?
25 bags for the winner.
See, that's a very good prize purse for a tournament where really you're looking at players that are past their best. So for the likes of Phill Taylor, there's a lot of incentive there to go out and perform at your absolute best. That is quite good. I'm quite excited about that. I think the fact it's more than what the BDO World Champion won when William Warren won the World Championship is a bit of a disgrace. But it's brilliant that they've got enough backing to do that, and I'm glad they've committed to that nice and early. At least they're clearly well on the way. The marketing for it has been absolutely fantastic. The way they released all the players was brilliant. I think it really has driven up the hype. So it's one of them tournaments that you really look forward to, and seeing all these players that we've not seen for a few years now come back to play is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to see Ted Anke back on that stage.
They were all good videos, weren't they?
Yeah. We know you created them videos, don't we?
Yeah.
So modest, Philip.
I just put them in the WhatsApp chat to make sure you guys liked them first. This look all right, lads. Jonathan says, what's the closest you guys have ever got to a 9? Well,
7.
I hit back-to-back 180s, and on the 7th dart was more in danger of hitting the treble 12 because my hand wouldn't stop shaking. At least I'm honest.
The first time I went back-to-back, I hit the biggest 26 you've ever seen in your life. And I was actually at an event in Milton Keynes after a Pro Tour. So I was practicing with Billy Holmes was there, Kyle Anderson was there, Kirk Shepherd was there, and a couple of others. And I've gone back-to-back for the first ever time and just dropped my ass completely. Best I've ever done is 7, though. 7 into it.
You, Luke?
I'm looking at 3. I'm not going to lie. I've never managed to go back to back. Hopefully one day, but it's 3.
Yeah. No, it's my 7th dart that was not very dangerous. Patrick is in the chat room. Good evening, mate. Hope you are all good. England, Scotland, a few of back to back. Literally, Boyce's in the chat room. He's getting more and more excited about Blackpool by the day. He might go and camp.
He's already got his wardrobe ready, mate.
Honestly,
he's been ironing them shirts over and over again, and then backpacking them.
At the end of his bed, he's already got his Blackpool suitcase all labelled up, ready and done. He's set. Yeah, look, a lot of people cannot wait for Blackpool, and I completely agree. As long as Bojo doesn't do anything stupid.
Yeah, because those words go in a sentence together, don't they? Christ's sake.
Daniel says, when will Nico swap the mic for his darts again? He's had operation number 1. He's got operation number 2 in just after the match play. I think he's hoping October time he'll be able to pick them up and do some proper practice. That's the plan anyway for Nico.
I think just touching on Nico and going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think it'll be very telling for what we're now describing as the amateur game, your MAD, your WDF and that sort of thing. If players that have played PDC opt for one or the other as a route back, we are getting to a point now where you can almost you can make a very good living by not being a PDC dart player, but being a dart player. And it'd be very interesting to know if and when these guys, if they do decide to go back or try and compete, and it isn't straight, let's just jump straight into Q School and go in at the deep end, where they ply their trade. The likes of Nico, the likes of Mark Webster, Mace can still compete.
I think I know the answer for 2.
The likes of the guys playing in the yeah. But the guys that are playing in the live league as well at the minute, your likes of James Richardson, he will have intentions of going back to be a tour card holder, but where will he go? Because if you can do that as well as playing Challenge Tour, these guys are absolutely laughing. There's an opportunity for these guys to be playing far more darts than the pros.
Yeah. Stephen says, what do you think the bookies will give me Harms and Reyes, the final of the match play? I think if you ask them, they'll say put as many noughts on the end of the betting slip as you want.
Yes.
And then go and see the men in white coats. Just putting it out there, I've probably got more chance of getting to the match play final than one of them.
Hopefully adding a Southgate waistcoat. Oh, Lee, come on. Yes, he's using my England playlist, though. 13 songs, 48 minutes, just non-stop England football songs. Called us crap last night. We're going to lose to the Scots, but at the same time, that playlist was on 4 times today.
Yeah. Right, we're going to go for another 5 or 10 minutes, guys. So get your last questions in. Chat room has been absolutely electric this evening. Really enjoying it.
Yes, an Oasis reference. It's been a while.
Yeah,
no chance missing.
We need more Liam Gallagher in tournaments. 100%.
Cheer for the
Mind you, that day at Q School, I did drive everyone bonkers.
Oh, ridiculous.
I hope he found out about that.
There had to be an Oasis song there as well. Bonkers is Dizzy Rascal, man.
Which was still...
Missy, you got to get further than us first. Oh, please. An absolute laugh, kick in the face. Taylor's match play record is unbelievable, but I've found a better record in sport. Rafael Nadal is 103 wins from 105 matches at Roland Garros.
It baffles me.
Ridiculous.
I watch a bit of tennis,
Ridiculous.
but like how he can be so dominant on one surface is just impressive. But it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, look, yeah, Rafa on clay is just unplayable.
Senador, what's the lowest score you cannot hit with one dart? It's 23, isn't it?
23.
Don't test me. Don't test me. Will you guys be doing long stream for challenging dev tours? We're intending to. It'll be a lot easier if these events fall on. Yeah, well, we said we would at the start of the year, but actually, as these events get a little bit closer and we're running out of weekends, if they're midweek, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Because it's only Phill that doesn't do anything else. The rest of us still got to work. And I've only got so much holiday. And if I don't use some of that to actually go on holiday, I'll be very, very single very, very quickly.
Yeah, but hold on, you can't go on holiday at the moment, God.
Yeah, I've got to save some though.
Then we will do something for the challenging dev tours, yeah. Ollie says, what would your walk-on song be? Luke, go with you first.
I've got no idea. Honestly, don't. I've been asked this before, and I don't have a song. I don't know. I've honestly got no idea.
You can't be on this show without a song. Them the rules.
Honestly, I don't even listen to music. Maybe I just come out to silence. Maybe that'll be my niche. I just walk out of the room, it'll be absolutely silent, right? They could chant, and I just stand there, soak it in.
Go full on Ronnie O'Sullivan Rebellion and just come out to some Chinese meditation music like he used to before he really embraced it.
Something a bit niche like that, yeah. Something like that. Or I quite like it to be, I don't watch a lot of wrestling, but you know, and you couldn't necessarily copy it, but something like the Undertaker's theme is very, very good. Probably one of the best in sport.
To be fair, there are a couple of wrestling crossovers that would be great walk-on songs. Like Danny Baggish.
Which ones are you thinking?
Danny Baggish should walk out to Hulk Hogan's Walk On. I am a real American.
Yeah.
And then
you lost me at wrestling, mate. I spent my life watching proper sport, not.
And then Edge and
If I wanted to
CM
watch
Punk.
drama, I'd watch EastEnders.
Edge and CM Punk would also be good ones, good crossovers. Loving the wrestling, by the way.
Have a word. Agadoo. Rocky Horror. Free from Desire for Luke.
Free from Desire is always a good one, isn't it?
Daniel says to me, what was your County Youth walk-on song? It would still be my walk-on song today. PJ and Duncan, let's get ready to rumble.
Yes! What a classic. I'm all over that.
Walk-on song.
County. Mate, I was learning the routine to that in my second year of uni while I was fresher repping. And I'm not afraid to admit it. Forget County Youth, I was 22. Stood in a street outside a nightclub dancing to PJ.
Are we going to see you with this out of the match player?
No, I've forgotten it. Conveniently.
You best get watching YouTube videos.
I got to get to the match play first.
Yeah, you best get watching YouTube videos, Tiz. Tiz, I was trying to see WhatsApp.
Tiz?
I've got WhatsApp up in front of me at the same time, and if you will notice why I said that.
Yeah. I can read.
Jonathan Nicholson walked out to CM Punk. Yeah, I think he did. It's a really good walk-on song, to be fair.
Yeah. Mine's
Missy
staying.
That'll be a decent one.
No idea.
Right then, guys, 5 more minutes, and then we're going to wrap up. It's been an amazing show. Views through the roof. You guys in the chat room have been absolutely amazing, as always.
Absolutely. Like Charlie cooking them sausages, mate. That's the second 5 minutes in 10 minutes.
Well, you know, it's what we do, isn't it?
If you get that reference, legend.
Oh, Owen. See, well, this is going to split people, Owen's question. This depends how old you are. Owen says Bolton or Minehead for the UK Open. This depends how old you are, depending which one you're going to say.
Well, this is how you find out how old Phill actually is and how old I am. It has to be Minehead for me because I've never seen it at Bolton.
Luke?
See, I'm younger than you, Gob, and I would still stick with Bolton because of the videos I've seen online. The atmosphere in Bolton looked very, very good. The whole, how tight-knit it is and how close the action was, and the fact you could see all balls look brilliant.
Bolton all day long. And bring back the Thursday night session as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there was a Thursday night session for the UK Open in Bolton. It was mint. Absolutely mint. Jonathan says, any of you... Go on.
That they will... After the nostalgia that Milton Keynes and all being in the same room caused this year, and the fact there's already an event at Minehead, do you think they will look to find somewhere to put that back in one room again? Or do you think the deal with Bolton, with Minehead is there to stay?
I think commercially...
Because the fact that Minehead already hosts one is so out of the way. The fact you can have fans on site and the accommodation, everything that comes with it, and you get the 2 deal, it's the same crew that go down there, it's the ITV crew both times and that sort of thing. It just works. But at the same time, there is a real call, after seeing it at Bolton and after seeing it in action without fans this time round, to have that 8 boards in one room set up again.
I think commercially, Minehead makes too much sense.
Yeah.
But I would love to see the UK Open back in one room.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. No. Jonathan says, any of you ever hit 3 bullseyes? Yes, twice. Yeah, not in a game, just practicing. Because you don't go for it in a game, but yeah, having it twice.
Right. So I've had 2 170s to win the match. The only 2 times I've ever hit that competitively, and they've both been to win a match. So I just whack my massive gonads out to show off that one.
You've not mentioned that as often as Matt Edgar has, though, so we'll give you that.
Yeah, but mine wasn't to beat Gary Anderson, was it? His was to beat Gary Anderson. Mine was to win £120 in the highest checkout competition. Like, whoop-de-doo.
Look, let's not like that. That's not bad.
I still scream like a little girl, to be fair. 2-0 up, Black pulls it back to 2 each. He sat on a 2-darter for the match, and I pull off a 170 where I don't even realise the bullseye's in because the dart lands at such a stupid angle and the corner just goes game shot. And I'm like, ah!
I remember the first time I hit 170 finish, the bullseye dart left my hand. I did a chizzy, tried to correct it because it felt that bad when it left my hand, but it still went in. Right, the last few. No,
there was a question earlier, we didn't answer it. I think we'll come back to it another day because it's quite a big topic. It was about coaching and do the players need coaching? And it's something that we've always been we all agree with. I think that there's room for coaching and psychology, but I just think it's something that we could properly get into for like 20 minutes, half an hour and actually talk to different people that have coached.
Yeah, we'll do a quick one on it now, but then we'll do it more in depth. Do I think it works? 100%.
Yeah.
And I think there should be more of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think psychology and teams and... Go on,
We've seen it work in every other sport. There's no reason why it wouldn't work in darts. And I think, it becomes such a mental game. Realistically, in football, you are playing against the opposition. In darts, you're basically playing against yourself. So it is your mind as much as anything else that you really need to train and to get better. So 100%. And we've seen the improvements that players have made who've committed to having some psychological help. But, especially starter players, physical coaching and making sure your throw is both steady and accurate is just as important. So coaching in all aspects is really important for darts, 100%.
Patrick says, last 2, because they sort of like combined into one from Patrick, one from Daniel. Lowest darts you've done in a competitive game, and what darts do you use?
Mine's an
Depends what day of the
11.
week it is, my gob.
No, same darts all the time. My best is in a game is 11. I've done a 10 in practice though. Well, it's not at the minute. I've used them for quite a while now. Adrian Lewis, Gen 2. Data dart, ghost grip points. Messed myself up a little bit with flights and stems. I tried to use the Condor, the solid plastic ones. I've got the zero stress in at the minute, but I've used Cosmo recently. I've literally tried every sort of like fitted and molded flight at some point. Won a Harrows competition on Twitter once and got a few Harrows click, and I've never really gone back to proper flights since then. So it's a molded flight and stem combination of some sort. Not playing very well at the minute though at all.
You, Luke?
Best in a game was a 15, so a little bit off gob, but I currently use some brass darts that I found in the drawer that are around about 25 years old and are 32 grams. I'm quite tall, so I need quite a heavier dart, so I literally throw about the same weight as Ryan Sill. But yeah, I just use standard flights, standard points. Very basic dart.
Yeah. Mine is getting 11, going back probably 10 or more years now. I'm in the process of change. For years and years, I think I put on my Instagram a few weeks ago, I used the old bruised and battered Colin Lloyd unicorn dart, but they're that old. They used to be gold, but they've just got no grip on them whatsoever anymore, but I still kind of love them. But I'm flitting between that and the Peter Wright Red Dragon World Championship dart.
Yeah, I'm itching to have a go at them. So when you finally bin them off, you've got my address.
But I do use quite an aggressive point.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
Then I haven't got the full Whitlockers yet. But
He's basically your next door neighbour, isn't he? So serves the southeast.
Just want to thank everyone for tonight. Absolutely amazing show. Give yourself all a round of applause. Chat room, absolutely electric. We will be back probably Sunday next week because the Super Series stream on the Monday. We tried doing a live league after a Super Series and it just went down like the Titanic because we were all absolutely knackered.
Well, the interaction was great, but me, you, and Jar were dead on our feet. I think it was the gap, actually. If we'd gone straight into it, we'd have been all right, but we had 2 hours off, and you just had the hype of streaming for 8.5 hours for the first time ever. The way that we streamed wasn't meant to be the way we stream. We were meant to just have 1 or 2 on at any time and rotate people in and do a couple of hour stints, and we just all sat on it for 8 hours and have never been able to get away from it. So, yeah.
No, it's been absolutely superb. Remember, coming tomorrow, we are sorting it out. The giveaway will happen tomorrow, and you will have to go to YouTube to do it. So make sure you're subscribed so you know when it happens. But again, thank you all from me. I've been Phill Bars, joined by Luke and Gob tonight. You've been amazing. We have been the Live Lounge, and we will see you next week.
Let's go.